My story, our story, my family story. Well, it all started probably grade 1. I realized that things weren't quite coming together. He had a lovely teacher that was trying very hard, but he didn't make, well, he made some progress, but not a lot. Anyways, grade 2, it all kind of hit a point when my son came home from school sobbing and having a total meltdown, an absolute, complete meltdown. And I knew something was really, really wrong. So I was able to take him to a friend of mine who's an expert in learning disabilities, and she worked with him a little bit and said, "Oh, Nancy, he's dyslexic. He's really, really dyslexic." And I went, okay. Now what? So she also knew quite a bit about Orton Gillingham, and so she said, "You need Orton Gillingham tutoring." We lived in a rural community, and there were no Orton Gillingham tutors around. I did find some tutors who were trained in special education, and they worked with him. We did that for a couple of years, and then I actually found an Orton Gillingham tutor, and he went to her for a year or so. Probably this didn't happen year after year, but anyways, he worked with her for a year, 2 years, and he'd made some progress, but not as much as he needed to. And he was entering high school. He was going to enter high school, and he had had a really good teachers in the elementary years who had supported him, and he was in a school where they accepted him, that he was, although a very bright boy, was unable to read. And he was going into high school, and I was very concerned. We talked to high school teachers. They were, yep, we're going to support him. But one of his teachers said to me, the resource room teacher said, "You know, have you thought about that adolescent brain change, and, you know, maybe really now is the time to look at tutoring again?" So I said, "Oh, that's a good idea." Anyways, but I looked around, and our Orton Gillingham tutor was no longer tutoring, and there was nobody else in the area who could do Orton Gillingham. And he was in high school, and he was essentially hiding out in the back of the room. And I just thought, okay, that's enough of that. It's time to do something different. And so I did know about Fraser Academy from my friend who was quite involved, who knew quite a bit about Orton Gillingham. And so we just decided, you know, it's now or never. Our son has to learn to read, and he's in grade 8 now and not reading very well. So our whole family moved to Vancouver. My husband and I left our jobs. My daughter was in grade 10, and the whole family, we moved to Vancouver. And here we are in Vancouver, and my son started at Fraser Academy at grade 9. This is now his second year. He's just finishing up his second year here. Our plan was to come for 2 years and then go back, because we actually own a house somewhere else. Because you can own a house somewhere else. But he's doing so well that we're going to stay till he's finished high school. And I would say that his reading skills have improved. He is really very, very dyslexic, but his skills have improved. I can now actually read his writing. It's not correct, but it's now decodable, and I can read it. But the biggest change has been his self-esteem. He went from a kid who was hiding in the back of the room to now he's on the leadership team. He's gone out and gotten a part-time job. He's become so much more confident. He's now got a summer job, and he's even talking about running for student council, which he would never, ever have dreamed of doing before. So even though it was a large change for our family and certainly a sacrifice in many ways, we are very pleased with the outcome of our decision, at least as far as he's concerned. He didn't want to come here. He was, no, you're making me change schools. I don't want to come to the new school. I don't want to wear a uniform. And then it was actually November. We were driving somewhere and I said, so Christopher, how's it going? And he said, you know, Mom, you were right about that school. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because we'd done a lot for him to be there, so.